and welcome to Entrepreneurial Corners. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Dena Patrice Burroughs, and she is the founder of Business Development on Demand LLC and Women Who Thrive in Life and Business. She is a powerhouse business mentor, certified professional co-active coach, and a passionate changemaker who helps leaders and entrepreneurs plan, process, think, and thrive. Hello, Miss Dena. How are you doing today?
Hello, Sharice. I am fabulous. And how are you?
I am marvelous, darling. I am marvelous. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. Greetings, everyone. As Sharice mentioned, I am Dena Patrice Burroughs. I go by Dena Patrice. And just a little bit about me. I grew up in this small area town right outside of Cleveland, Ohio. And now I am in the Southeast. I'm in Atlanta. Been here almost 30 years this month. So this is now home for me. And just a little bit about me. I grew up believing that, you go to school, you work hard, you get the good job, all of these things that we believed, would be the happily ever after. And I did that. And then about a few years into my high powered position, I went from one public accounting firm to something smaller. That particular site shut down. And at the time I was married, I had a small child, and I was like, wait a minute, this wasn't supposed to happen, right? Like, I thought I did everything right. First marriage ended, and I was like, okay, now what happens now? And that is when I stumbled across something called coaching, and specifically money coaching, because my background is in accounting, MBA in finance. And this was a little bit special because, and here's what happened. I called up this particular coach and we had a conversation. Any conversation can change your life because it
Yes.
changed mine. It changed mine because it wasn't just about money, it was the psychology of money. I learned about these things called the 8 money types. And I was like, I didn't learn this in business school. Now, I grew up with really good habits, good money habits, but I realized that everybody didn't have that. And
Right.
so, yes. And so that's what started me on the path to really wanting to help people and support people, and how coaching is such a huge vehicle for transformation. Because
Yes.
within several years of that,
Yes.
um, I met my now husband. And we've been, our family has grown. 5 adult children, a teenager, um, in-laws, you name it.
Yes.
The business has grown. I expanded out because it wasn't just money. When I realized working with individuals, I was certified in every area so that people are holistic. Because
Yes.
sometimes you could be really good in one area, but another area is, needs some attention, needs
Yes.
some improvement, right? Whether it's your health, whether it's relationships, whether
Mhm.
it's your career, whether you're starting a business. And so that is just a little bit about me and how I roll.
I know that's right. I know that's right. I know that's right. So I wanted to ask you, what got you started with your own business? What
Yes.
made you want to form your own business?
Yes. What made me want to form my own business was that initial conversation that
Hmm.
I had this with. She became my first mentor way out in California.
Hmm.
And think about it. At that time, I was a single mom trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's do this. I began working with her,
Hmm.
and every area of my life started to transform. And I said, oh my God, goodness, other people have to experience this. So that
Yes.
was the coaching piece. Now, I also did get an opportunity to go back into a full time corporate position. And
Yes.
I decided to be what I think the term now is parallelpreneur, where I was working full time and then running my business full time until eventually I transitioned from
Yes.
that full time into the business. But here's what I recognize: in business development on demand was started because women were like, "How did you do that? What did you do to get started? What's the foundation? I see you're doing all of these things." I said, "Well, wait a minute, let me step back and lay some critical pieces for women in business." Now, I have worked with business owners and men as well, but I found that working with women is
Yes.
huge because right now women are the fastest growing entrepreneurs,
Yes.
recognizing that we want flexibility, we want to make an impact, that we have something to give to the world. And
Yes.
so that was something that I started, and I've called it on demand
Mhm.
because yes, we're busy sometimes. We're
Yes.
full. We're doing so many things in so many different directions. Whether we're caregivers, whether we
Yes.
are helping other family members, whether we're in the community serving, whether we're in our local organization serving. And so having something that's convenient
Yes.
for women is key. And so that's why there's a section of it that is on demand.
Amen. That's right. I know that's right. So we want to get into our uh let's start with the heart of the work. It's generosity. How do you define leading with generosity in a business context?
Ooh, Sharice, you asked some really good questions. Yes. So, and I'm going to speak to service businesses, why
Mhm.
this is so key. Because yes, you have a product and
Mhm.
both concepts work. And you start with generosity because you're coming from a place of service.
Yes.
You're wanting to make a difference. There's either a problem that someone has and you're
Mhm.
there to solve it, depending on however you solve it in the
Yes.
service business. Coach, consultant, teachers, educators, leaders.
Yes.
And so when you're leading with generosity, you're coming from a place of, I'm here to support you and what
Yes.
it is that you're trying to achieve, whatever
Yes.
that result is. And so being generous could be even just having conversations. You would be amazed how some people are like, well, I can't believe you still do a free consultation. Yes. Yes, you want to work with people, right? That's
Yes. You want to
powerful.
draw.
It's a
Yes.
relationship first.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
even, and I know we're going to probably pull back into the bigger pieces of social media and all the platforms and everything that's available, but it still
Yes.
starts with a conversation. That conversation could be written, that conversation could be audio, right? Your podcast, that conversation could be through a video, it could
Yes.
be in person, but it starts there. And so
Yes.
that's the generosity piece.
Yes.
Also, samples. I tell people all the time that if you have something,
Mm.
especially today, people want to know, well, let me try it first.
Yeah.
So yes, you have a book, right, Sharice? So
Yes.
yeah, so you can give away a sentence or two, right? You put that out
Yes.
there, the first chapter or the introduction or something, so people get a
Mm-hmm.
taste.
Yes.
That's the generosity. They get a taste of what you're
Yes.
offering, what you're providing, so they can say, "Oh, I like that. I think I want some more. I want some more." Or I
Yes.
know someone else who can
Yes.
benefit from what you have to offer, and that starts with generosity.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Could you share the first way business owners can use generosity to attract new clients naturally?
Absolutely. So you're doing it. This is an example,
Yes.
making connections and then sharing information that's valuable for those who are looking for it. There's a lot going on in the world right now, just a lot. And a lot of people need a lot of help and want a lot of help in a lot of areas. And so the more we're able to talk about it, the more we're able to even share. So the more we're able to getting in front of people.
Yes.
Speaking is an absolute phenomenal way of being
Yeah.
able to naturally attract new business. Here's the other one, and this is one that I absolutely love: partners, partnerships, partnerships, groups to say, okay, you have a community there, I have a community here. Let's get together and share with our communities. That
Yes.
is another way to naturally attract. And it's another way to grow your impact because
Yeah.
this is all about helping people and making a difference.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What are some misconceptions business owners have about giving value up front?
Ooh, that's a good one. A misconception. Here's a big one that I hear. Well,
Yes.
I'm giving everything away. That's a misconception. If you feel like you're giving everything, you can't possibly give everything away, right? You can give some, but
Yeah.
sharing value doesn't necessarily mean that um, someone else will take it and somebody else might. Here's an
Yes.
example about that. I have an aunt, rest her soul, who
Hmm.
would make a sweet potato pie that would just make your mouth water, right?
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
Now, somebody else tried to make her sweet potato pie. It wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't.
Same. It didn't have the experience. It didn't have the love. It didn't have just the way she would, put her ingredients together, the way
Yeah.
we bake. It wouldn't
Yeah.
have all of that. And it's the same way with the value that you provide. If there's a misconception
Hmm.
about you giving value, then it might be time to go inward and
Hmm.
really look at the value that you're providing.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know that's right. Because my granddaddy, when he was here, praise the Lord, he's with the Lord now, and he taught me how to cook. Him and my grandma, and my granddaddy taught me how to cook. And the one thing I had to get, I knew I wanted to bake sweet potato pies. And my granddaddy was an expert with these sweet potato pies, right? And I would sit and I would gleam and I would sit and pay attention and he'd tell me, well, you gotta boil your taters first, then set them aside, let them cool, and then while they cooling, you go ahead and get your eggs and separate the eggs, the yolk from the yolk from the yellow, and you gotta, batter up the white part, the yolk part, not, you gotta separate the two, and he went into detail like that, and I understood that these same principles have to be applied to business. Everything can't be mixed with everything. You can't mix. You you cannot mix. You can't mix certain things with other things and think you just throw it together and it'll come out right. That's that one principle that I and analyze, kind of put it together where you sometime in business we trying to do too many things and then we trying to throw everything at everybody and they be like, what I supposed to pay attention to first? It's kind of that, like what else am I supposed to buy the book? Am I supposed to buy this? Am I supposed to go to this course? Am I supposed to, what's going on? And sometimes I've learned from my coach that you have to do work on one thing at a time. Yeah.
Yes.
You have to work on one thing at a time.
Mhm.
So when it comes to crafting out the offers, many entrepreneurs struggle with packaging their service. What's the first step in creating a irresistible offer?
Ooh, I love this question too. You got some good ones. The first step is, what are you solving?
Yes.
What That is so key. You might have an idea of what
Yeah.
it is that you're helping and you're solving and you're providing.
Hmm.
One secret sauce that I add to that is you go out there and you have conversations. Even if you see it and you're like, oh, I can solve this. I can help you with your lead generation. I can help you, build a foundation. I can support you in getting fit, staying fit. Talk to those who are having the challenge so they
Yes.
can say, yes, this is my challenge. But if you offer that, that's not necessarily what I want.
Right.
And that is the biggest gap that I have seen over the years is that offers and services are being created that
Yes.
entrepreneurs think people want, and they're
Yes.
not being consumed in the way they anticipated and expected,
Yes.
because having that conversation with the people that you're serving is
Mhm.
so essential.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one. And then not only that, I'm going to go one step further. Even those who have been in business for a while,
Yes.
the family business,
Mhm.
the businesses that have been around,
Yes.
that check-in is so important because we saw it where you have to pivot. You have to be flexible. And when
Yes.
you stay connected to the people you are serving,
Mhm.
they'll let you know, hey, that was great. I'm plant-based. So even though I'm plant-based, the food has to be good. So even if I go to my favorite restaurant and say, you know what, this was great, but it's time for something new.
Yeah.
And so that's why even being an established business owner, that's
Mhm.
well.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. How important is messaging when designing your offer, and how can business owners refine theirs?
Hmm. How important is it? The messaging is so essential because it's like a target. If your message is so general, then you're not really getting to the heart of what you're offering. You're not really touching those amazing human beings who really want what you have. And so that message is important. And then you also mentioned something else about the message. What was the second part of your question?
And how can business owners refine theirs?
Refining it. So there are a number of ways that you can refine it. I've gone over the first one, which is staying in contact with your audience. The
Yes.
second is, and this is something that you said, Sharice, that I want to bring up, is when you wanted to learn how to make that sweet potato pie, what did
Mhm.
you had a mentor. You
Yes.
had someone right there because sometimes we are so close to our message, we're so tied to it, and this is
Yeah.
what it is that
Mhm.
we can't see. And so, therefore, having another set of eyes, having someone that can provide another perspective, someone that can hold you accountable to say, hey, this is what you said you wanted the message to be, but this is how it seems to be landing,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so that's how another way that you can begin to create irresistible offers.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you share a success story of a business that revamped their offer and saw immediate results that you have worked with?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness. So I'm actually going to give an example of it. It was a family, and it was actually a startup. And so they had everything together, laid it out. They had the different skill sets around it. And so, in looking at what they were providing, yes, we got the feedback. And there are a couple of components that needed to go in their offer. Because here's the thing, once you start sharing your offer, and if during that initial launch it doesn't land the way you thought it would land,
Yes.
then to go back and look at what are some additional components that can be added. One of the things that I have seen and recognized, and even with this particular startup,
Mhm.
is being able to have what I call a complementary offer with it. So their focus was health and wellness,
Yes.
and being able to provide a platform for individuals who had health and wellness businesses. So they were a little bit of a tech company. It's also important to know what business you're in.
Yes.
And so in that, they recognize from hearing from customers, like there's another component that is needed. And that was the education getting on the platform. It wasn't just providing the service that the platform had, it was getting the benefit out of it. So what I mean by that and having that, so once they made that shift and
Yes.
oh, now they weren't just a one, what do they call it? One trick pony, but they were able to support their customers in more than one way, and particularly in an area that was needed.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Totally understand that. What are some common mistakes people make when developing the offers, and how can they fix them?
Yeah,
What's one common mistake
a
that
common
people
mistake.
make? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there's five, there's the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why, right? All of those components
Yeah. Yes.
into it. And then what I've seen lately is their pricing model. Like I have heard over and over, how much should I offer? What
Yeah.
should it be? Where is it? And it's going to be different for every type of business, but it's also going to be the value.
Yes.
So entrepreneurs and business owners are getting tripped up on really looking at, well, what's valuable about what you're offering?
Yes.
So, for example, if you attended, you heard about a workshop, right? You
Yeah.
haven't been to the workshop, but you've heard about the workshop and you've heard other people talk about the workshop. But
Yes.
maybe when you hear that person at the workshop say, oh, this at this workshop, I
Mhm.
found out how to map, how to plan. I did it all in one day. And
Mhm.
within, 2 weeks, my
Yes.
business really accelerated.
Mhm.
That's the value right there.
Yes.
And knowing what that piece is, incorporating it back into your offer.
Yes.
And then even your clients and customers will say, that is something I would pay for. That is something that I would invest my time, my energy, and my money in. Those three things. So that would be a common area is putting together your investment level. That's what I like to call it. Some people call it pricing. It's the investment level.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
all about your customers, your clients, the people who are consuming it. They
Yes.
want results. That's what
Mhm.
they're for. They're looking for a result. Whether
Yes. They.
you go to a workshop, speak, you coach, you get a book, because
Yeah.
even when you're consuming a book or you're
Yeah.
listening to a podcast, there's something that you're wanting to get out of it.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So true. So, what's the most overlooked but powerful system tool to use in entrepreneurship today?
Ooh, I'm actually going to say your enrollment process. I'm not talking about technology because there's lots of platforms out there,
Mm.
but the way you enroll new business is so key.
Yes.
Is it
Mm.
easy? Is it
Ye-
clear? Is it
Yes.
an experience for them? Is it available? Because sometimes you have all these, right? It's available or not available. What I mean by that is you'll go and you searching around. Look, I'm trying to buy something from you. And
And I can't find the buy button.
you can't find the buy button to, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
yes. So
It
making
doesn't.
sure that that process is a process that is
Mhm.
smooth for the people who are wanting to invest in themselves, because that's what they're doing is they're buying
Yes.
something to help them in some way, to
Yes.
achieve something, to overcome something, to solve a problem.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so I would say having an amazing enrollment process.
Yes. Could you walk us through the four essential business systems you recommend for suitable growth?
Yes. Okay. So again, these are concepts because you have to have them in place. If you don't
Yes.
have the concepts in place, the technology supports your systems.
Yeah.
So the first one is having visibility. Visibility is number one. It's number one. And I've already talked about knowing what the problem is, but the
Yes.
system to support it is having the visibility. Are
Yes.
you speaking? Are you writing? Are people consuming you through writing? Are people hearing about you? Do you have a referral system in place? Um,
Mhm.
do you have partnerships? How is it that you're out there that people hear about you? So that's number one. And then number two, which I talked about, is having the enrollment system. So you got to be able to have some sales, some revenue for your business to continue to grow. So that
Yes.
is very essential, is having the enrollment system.
Mhm.
The next one is having an outstanding product or service.
Yes.
That system has to be in place. The way you deliver that service, the way you deliver that product,
Mhm.
that is top notch, is the best you have to offer. Because think
Mhm.
about it, if any, just these first three, if
Yes.
there's a gap in any of those three,
Yes.
you have a challenge, right?
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
not visible, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
If you don't have a way for people to enroll and purchase what you have, that's a challenge.
Mhm.
And then
Yes.
if your product or service is something that is not valuable from the consumer
Yes.
standpoint, those
Mhm.
three. Now here's the fourth one that
Mhm.
that I've seen, and it
Yeah.
actually is around leadership. Leadership as a leader, and bold leadership.
Yes.
Because if you have that in place for your business, for
Yes.
yourself, for your life, you're going
Right.
to handle anything that
Mhm.
comes your way. You're going to be able to say, okay, let's sit down and talk about visibility. Let's sit down and see how I'm generating connections and leads and growing. Let's sit down and see, I am growing. How can I grow more? How can I reach more people? How can I
Mhm.
impact more people? That's what leaders do. They step into that role. I have seen businesses that are great businesses.
Mhm.
Then there are the challenge around sitting down with the leadership to say, what's your vision?
Yeah.
That, what's your vision?
Yes.
What's your mission? What's your purpose? What's your direction that you're going in?
Yes. Where do
There
you want to be in 5 or 10 years?
Exactly. Yes. And even if, because I've also found now, because everything is so uncertain and is shifting, and I
Yes.
can see why some people are like, well, I'm not sure about five. I get that. But you are sure about the impact that you want to have. You
Yes.
want, if you are in the ministry, even nonprofits, and
Right. Mhm.
exactly right, and those who do food service for the
Yeah.
community, you have a vision. You want to see people eating. You want to
Yes.
see, people healthy. That's
Yes.
one of the things that I'm into right now is making sure that women that I'm supporting, that's why there's
Yes.
women who thrive, that
Yes.
you're taking care of yourself. It's
Right.
pulled in all these directions. And so that requires you stepping into a leadership role. So
Yeah.
those are four components right there. And then, of course, technology supports all of that.
Mhm. Can a solo entrepreneur implement these systems, or is a team necessary from the start?
Hmm. Yes, a solo entrepreneur can implement that.
Yes.
And depending on your product or service, a
Yes,
team
ma'am.
might need to be required.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's okay. That is okay both ways. Here's what I recognize, and this kind of comes from being an auditor. There are people who can run a business on the back of a napkin. They really can.
Okay.
They really can.
Yes.
Because they have relationships, because they know what people want, they know how to pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
All the technology supports that concept.
Yes, ma'am.
A
Yes, ma'am.
team supports that concept.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I like to give that example because in response to whether it's a solopreneur or a team that's needed, it goes back to the individual that
Mm.
has the vision and they're leading what it is that they're putting out in the world. Yes.
This question to you is, what advice would you give a startup entrepreneur?
Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot in that one in terms of a startup. Um,
One good piece of advice.
ooh, we. Mm.
I know it's a
Yeah, that's
plethora
a
of
loaded one. One piece of
them,
really good advice. Hmm. Hmm.
but I want to ask you this. What do you recommend the startup business to start with? Would it be the legality part and then the finances, like the certified public accountant, tax people? How would what would your advice be with that?
Yeah, that's a loaded one because I've seen the full gamut all the way up to the Fortune 500 ones and
Yes.
how they start off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it all starts with a concept and an idea,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then because how it can unfold is going to be based upon your industry, based upon your service, based upon your product that you have. And then getting into the point that you said, do you do the legalities first or do you, try to get your team together? It's almost, here's what I would say actually, that there's a proof of concept that somebody wants what you have. Somebody needs it. Somebody wants to solve that problem, and you're out there doing it. Because what hurts is you do all this work as a solopreneur and then find out after you've laid the ground, got your logo, got the trademark, everything in place, and it's not moving, it's not landing, and having to pivot.
Mhm.
So it
Yes.
goes back to who are you serving? Have
Yes.
you served them?
Mhm.
Have you offered it? Have you provided? Even if it's a concept and they all sit around and say, yes, I will invest in that.
Yeah.
You've got that, then you can begin to lay the foundation of what you're referring to.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Today we have spent our time with Miss Dena Patrice Burroughs. And she is the founder of Business Development on Demand LLC and Women Who Thrive in Life and Business. She is a coach. She is a mentor. She mentors. She trains. She develops programs. And she helps leaders with their bold leadership breakthrough moments. And I wanted to say thank you, Miss Dena, for today, for being our guest. And where can we find you? Where can we find you?
Yes. So the best place to connect with me is over on denapatrice.com. That is the place where you can connect with me. And then any thoughts, questions, you just hit that slash button, hit contact right on that site. You can contact me directly. You have questions, you have insights. That's where we can connect. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And what social media platforms do you currently have?
Yes. So I have all of them, LinkedIn, Facebook, but I'm going to tell you where I really hang out. And that's on Meetup and Alignable. Those are amazing platforms for connecting live with people in person. And so that is where you can definitely find me there. And yes, I believe you have LinkedIn. Sharice, you have all of my socials there that I provided for you in terms
Yes.
of, yep, IG as well. And so there you go. Absolutely bringing those up. So those are the places where you can definitely connect with me.
Yes, ma'am. I heard somebody had a free workshop going on. The free workshop is called Thrive Workshop. Can you give us give us more information about your free workshop, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are several free workshops that I provide.
Mhm.
Um, and let's talk about the Thrive workshop first, because I have a family member last year who became really ill, and it just rocked me to my core. And I have been plant based this month. It'll be 30 years, which is crazy. And so I started sharing some
Mhm.
ways to add more fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, reducing the processed foods and eating
Yes.
out of a box, a bag, and a can. And they started getting better. I know, they started getting better by having just more fresh, wholesome foods and
Yes.
grains. And so I said, wait a minute. So I know that women are completely stretched, and sometimes just having a few super simple ways to be able to add a little bit more fresh to your eating habits can make a huge difference in your energy, and just how you feel, and also how you look as well. And so that's what the Thrive workshop is about. It's called Discovering the 7 Super Simple Ways to Add More Plant Based Eating Habits for yourself, for your family. So that's one workshop. And thank you for bringing that up, Sharice. I do have the others that you talked about, which is how to create irresistible offers. Also, how to implement those 4 to 5 business systems as well. So
Mhm.
that's another workshop that I have. And so, oh my goodness, we didn't even talk about the money coaching piece and the 8 money types, and how your money types can support you, right?
Yeah.
Or they can derail you.
Yeah.
Or even if you have good money habits, when a
Mhm.
crisis hits,
Yeah.
how do you behave? How do
Yes.
you handle it? And so I also have how to expand your money mindset. And
Mhm.
even as you grow into success, that's a whole nother level as well to get
Yes.
to, as you begin to expand as new levels, new things that you have to deal with, legal things, and being able to have that mindset and to support your growth and expansion.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Dina. Thank you so much for coming and being a guest here today on Entrepreneurial Corners. If you if you need to get in contact with Miss Dina, okay, you need to go to the website www.denapatrice.com. You can, uh, render her services, sit down, have a consultation with her, and she will walk you through a process that, I would say will get you to the results that you need. Everyone's results is not the same. Everyone's problem is not the same. We have to, and it takes years of experience for someone to help you with the path that you need to be on. So you need to go and, sit down and talk to Miss Dina, okay? Because she can lead you into the right place and the right time and the right message. And she can help you with your money, child. Okay, you can't go wrong with that. Somebody help you with the money, right? It's called show me the money, right? But we gotta find someone. Miss Dina is the person that will lead you to the process and the know it all when it comes to obtaining the money. Okay. All right. So thank you, Miss Dina. It has been a pleasure. It has been an honor today to have you here on Entrepreneurial Corners. And I want to say thank you to everyone that has showed up, showed out, and supported Entrepreneurial Corners for today. Thank you, Miss Dina. And I want everyone to have a blessed day. Bye, babies.
Bye
All right,
bye.
Miss Dina.